So I think I'll get to Jerry, because Jerry is within Jaro, and Jerry, of all of us on the panel, I think you finished secondary school the earliest. So he's also a GP. So let's welcome Jerry Parks, CEO of Injaro, to do his TED-style speech. 3 minutes and some coins.
Thank you all very much. I shall try to keep this down to 3 minutes. I have to confess, I didn't really prepare anything, but I'm going to feed off what Chris said. And I think the most important thing in all of this is to remember who we are working for, which is the pensioner. I remember when our last fund was launched and announced, I got a very sobering, well, to me sobering, it was my auntie celebrating, and she sent me a message and said, she used my Ifyedin, Aite, I'm so happy to see that you are managing some of my money. I know my pension is in safe hands. It's one of the scariest things you'll ever hear as a GP. So what that means is that when Chris allocates money to me, it is my job to make sure that regardless of the market cycle, regardless of the macros, we as a GP are doing what it takes to make sure that money delivers the return that the pensioner expects. It's one of the things I refer to very often in the office. Think about the pensioner that we are working for. And maybe it's worth just reiterating some of the things that we do to try to beat or try to overcome the risks that you normally find in any market. So as a GP, our job is to look at the current macro situation, accept the facts for what they are, and then ask ourselves which sectors are going to be the most resilient in this macro environment over the next 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 years. And once we've made that decision, it might be 2 or 3 sectors, this then feeds into our fund strategy. Now we go on a proactive hunt within each of these sectors for the best businesses that we can find in the sector. We normally try to look for a market leader. Then after you found the company, you need to figure out a fair price to pay, because Warren says if you don't pay the right price, you are taking away completely your chance of making a return. But we don't stop over there, because a fair price may still be a little bit on the high side to get a good business. We at Injaro, we say we have to create the value before we can extract the value. So before we go in, we try to find 3 or 4 things that we know we can quantify, 3 or 4 improvements that can be quantified, and that will take some value to the bottom line. So this plan will be agreed with the entrepreneur before we invest. So we have a plan before we go in, and when we go in, we go full force and we push it, right? So these are some of the things we think about to make sure that, obviously we have to think about the exit as well. We think about who is going to buy it, or whether it has a high likelihood of listing, or if the cash flows are so great that we can get dividends to start returning to our shareholders from day one. So this is a role that we play within the ecosystem. And I think in terms of the messaging to the companies that we invest in, I really see us as partners in delivering value in terms of a share of Ghana's economic growth back to our pensioners. I think what Chris was commenting on some of the stats around investments in private funds. And here in Ghana, I learned this morning that our GDP has risen above $100 billion. But less than 12% of our GDP is represented on the stock markets. There are lots of good growing businesses in Ghana that our pensioners do not have access to. Our job is to find those companies and give our pensioners exposure to the returns generated by those companies. So I think I'll end over here. That's the role that we play, and these are the principles that we use to try to invest through the macros to continue delivering value to our clients, the pensioners, my auntie. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for Jerry Parks. Wow.